Hi, my name is Isabel Bersola, and I will be going through B.F. Skinner's About Behaviorism, Chapter 13, which is titled, What is Inside the Skin? Anything that I am saying, everything that I am saying is written down on the screen so that anybody that wants to read along to what I'm saying has the availability to. Um, And yeah, so Skinner chapter 13 is titled What is Inside the Skin? Because Skinner greatly discusses how behavioristic analysis delves inside of the skin, but in an objective and measurable fashion. Discussing mentalistic views, physiology, and the cooperation between physiology and the behavioristic analysis. Chapter 13 starts with a statement that, and I quote, behavioristic analysis rests on following assumptions. A person is, first of all, an organism, a member of a species and a subspecies possessing a genetic endowment of anatomical and physiological characteristics, which are the product of the contingencies of survival to which the species has been exposed in the process of evolution, which is a very technical way to say that a person is an organism that exhibits behavior that is produced by the survival they experienced over lifetimes and evolutionary cautions. He then discusses the traditional mentalistic views, where he discusses that the assumption is, and I quote, a person is a member of the human species who behaves as he does because of many internal characteristics or possessions, among them sensations, habits, intelligence, opinions, dreams, personalities, moods, decisions, fantasies, skills, precepts, and the list goes on. To where we are asked what to think when the two comparisons are discussed. There are 7 sections used to compare the two views: simplicity, use in control, use in prediction, use in interpretation, how far back, relation to other sciences, and is choice necessary. To summarize all of the sections, the way to compare the two views goes as such. Neither view is simpler than the other, especially since measurable change is unable to be noted or measured when it comes to the mental activities, because, and I quote, there is no way in which one can make contact with them being the mental activities that he lists in the beginning. Therefore, when discussing behaviors, predicting behavior can be viewed as an understanding of the product of contingencies, of which future behaviors will also be a function. In other words, behavioristic analysis can predict behavior due to an interpretation of a person's history and the past contingencies that a person has experienced. This is because, and I quote, behavioristic analysis discussions are more helpful to guess about genetic endowment and environmental history than about the feelings which have resulted from them. Then Skinner discusses that roundabout mentalistic conversations regarding why behavior occurs is pointless past the point where effective action can be taken, which indicates that behavioristic analysis is more useful with behavior change and analysis due to the dead-end trails that mentalism paves for physiologists who are studying the effects happening within the anatomy of a person due to behaviors to those who seek to increase the quality of life through behavior modification. Sorry, I'm going to read that again. Which indicates that behavioristic analysis is more useful with behavior change and analysis due to the dead-end trails that mentalism paves for physiologists who are studying the effects happening within the anatomy of a person due to their behaviors, and those who seek to increase the quality of life through behavior modification. Skinner finalizes this section with a question and his own answer. What is inside the skin, and how do we know about it? The answer is, I believe, the heart of radical behaviorism. This is somewhat an answer. Skinner then discusses the cooperation between physiology of a person in relation to the behavior demonstrated. Skinner discusses the cooperation between the two because, and I quote, physiology and, particularly with respect to behavior, neurology have made great progress, where electrical and chemical properties of many neural activities are now directly observed and measured. Which are, of course, two key components in behavioristic analysis, being observable and measurable. Here the discussion is summarized as behavioristic analysis cannot do the job in analyzing physiological findings, as that is the job of those studying physiology. However, cooperation between the two fields is important in creating the full picture of human action more nearly complete. The next section begins with something that stood out to me. Quote, let us take advantage of the position of the individual as an observer of himself and allow him to report on the mediating linkage between behavior and its antecedent causes. This stood out to me because this section is titled Mind or Nervous System, and I interpreted this quote as every individual who should be the one to discuss their interpretation of what is happening within their anatomy and what the antecedent is to their behavior. This section is finished with this. Verbal behavior, logic, mathematics, and introspection have all been built on features of the human species which have already evolved for other reasons. Finally, this chapter is completed with the section, The Conceptual Nervous System. Here, Skinner discusses the cooperation between different sciences and understanding what is happening. Skinner discusses the cooperation between different sciences and understanding what is happening inside of the nervous system, and how what is happening inside the nervous system is becoming more able to be observable and measurable. From here comes to my discussion question. From the points discussed, what can be said when discussing behavior change in behavioristic analysis in comparison to mentalism? Is there any way that mentalism would be more cooperative or could be more cooperative with physiology? Or is behavioristic analysis more effective when cooperating with those studying physiology? If yes, then why? Again, one more time. From here comes to my discussion question. From the points discussed, what can be said when discussing behavior change in behavioristic analysis in compared to mentalism? Is there any way that mentalism would be or could be more cooperative with physiology? Or is behavioristic analysis more effective when cooperating with those studying physiology? If yes, then why? Thanks.